If you're that guy that always watches the power meter, you're not going to win the race. At one point, you just need to race with your heart and not with your brain. I think I'm still able to do that in the important races.
Hey guys, this is Keeping Connected by the PTO. My name is Till and I got another fantastic athlete with me today. He's not just one of the most established triathletes, but in the future will be known for one of the most unique and coolest pain caves, as you can see on his YouTube channel. Welcome, Sebastian Kienle. Sebi, how are you?
Thanks. Doing absolutely great considering the times. Probably it's because of my very unique pain cave.
I loved it. I watched the YouTube video. Basically a result of one of the Twitter or like one of the tweets you put out that made me laugh so hard, because I had exactly the same approach where you were like, my new excuse is that you don't know how long the lockdown will take, so therefore you can only like clean one room a day or do one chore a day at home, which is exactly my approach down here as well.
Yeah, no, honestly. And I mean, I think we got off to a really quick start. Just like in an Ironman, you basically start full gas and then you still have 8 hours to go or a little bit less. And so I think all the rooms in Germany and all the houses in Germany, in the backyards and everything, they are like so clean. And we started to clean the stones outside. So
seriously,
honestly, I'm really excited to get back to my normal job.
I can imagine that. I watched some of your stuff. I have no idea how you squeeze that swim trainer into the kitchen. It fits like just like that.
Trust me, one thing, I don't know either, and it never works out without leaving some marks on one of the doors or whatsoever. So Tina, my wife, she's not always super stoked about it.
So you had all this success and so on, and earned a little bit of money in the sport, so but you still live in one and the same apartment. How come?
So I moved in after I stopped studying, and when I moved in it's basically the granny flat of the house of my parents-in-law. And yeah, I mean, back then you mentioned I started to make a living with the sport, but back then it wasn't really the case. And then we traveled so much, and so we never really thought about it's actually useful to have like a big ass home with all the fancy things and so on, because and then it's so convenient to be to be honest. You come back and the plants are still alive and the fridge is not. So this is like a really good thing, to be honest. So having Tina's parents here, they're super supportive, and yes, of course, sometimes it's a little bit small, but I also really love it. It's cozy, and you really feel at home when you come back from a trip.
How is Tina dealing with the swim trainer in the kitchen, the turbo in the living room?
Yeah, I mean, she also really loves it here, and therefore I think I love her so much, because it was never about who has the biggest garage and the most cars and so on. And she never really was into these things, but of course sometimes she's like, what about if we have a baby one day or whatever, and where do we move all this stuff? So that also was a chance in the last 2 weeks to rearrange some things, and I think I have to probably make an update, because parts of the gym equipment is now in her brother's room, older room. So therefore we have a little bit more space, but yeah, it's still pretty stacked.
Are you one of those people with the current situation who's actually busier in everyday life than he's usually?
Probably the answer is yes, because I mean, I don't want to say I have no excuse to not help with all those crazy remodeling and cleaning actions and so on, because I always I always wanted to do something useful, you know. I mean, spending 2 hours on the trainer might be good for your shape, but you can't instantly see the result, and it can be quite satisfying actually if you clean the stones in front of your backyard or whatever, and then like 2 hours later you look at the result and it's actually right there, you know. In our job, if you want to call it so, it's usually you have to wait a whole year until you see the result of all the work, and so sometimes it can be quite satisfying to do something normal.
Now you have no idea when you're back to racing. How do you actually train, or what do you train?
It's quite interesting because, you know, when I started the sport, I think it was all about racing and winning races and beating the opponents and so on, and being proud about yourself and the result. And I realized over the years, having some success, that really the reason why I still love the sport is because of the way to this success and because of all the work that goes into it. And so I love the sport not just for the races and for the lifestyle, but also just because I'm able to exercise every day and call this a job. And of course, especially in these days, I think you always have to have a perspective. You know, of course, it's challenging and it's difficult, but it's not as difficult as for some other athletes who are probably not even allowed to go outside. And then even those athletes still have it a lot better than a lot of other people who are afraid to lose their jobs and so on. So therefore, that puts it all in perspective. And now answering your question, I think I just do a lot of things I love to do. I also try to implement some new ideas into training, and it's also important for me to have a schedule. Actually, when I came back from Fuerteventura, that was just right after the lockdown, I had 1 week without really a schedule and so on, and it was very challenging, to be honest. And also mentally, it was not I wasn't very happy. And so now I'm back to some sort of a schedule, but that leaves enough freedom to just enjoy, you know, what I'm doing.
That's nice. You travel about 160 days a year. Do you always love it, or are you sometimes annoyed of the traveling?
Well, right now I can't think of anything better than go for a trip and experience something new. And I mean, that's the thing, you know, with all those years on the circuit, I started to have my friends and families spread all over the world. And also right now, then you start to think about all those people. And that's, on the one hand side, it's really interesting and nice to talk also to those people and learn about their experience and how it is there right now. I think in some years, at the end of the year, I was really tired of traveling, and the only thing I wanted to is stay home for 3-4 weeks and just, you know, lie on the sofa and do nothing. But it's always the same, you know, as soon as you have a situation like that, you start to hate it pretty soon. So therefore, of course, you always want to have what you currently can't have. And so therefore, yes, in some years I was really tired of all those traveling and living out of a suitcase. But then on the other hand, I also have to say it's quite a privilege. And what's also nice is that we always spend like 3-4 weeks in one place. It's probably different than a lot of other sports who, you know, see the airport, see the hotel, see the track or the pool or whatsoever, and then 2 days later, boom, they are back. And then 1 week later, again, they are on the road. And it's the same with cycling probably. So that's really nice in our sport, that we stay in one place for long enough to actually really get connected to the people there.
With all the places you've been in, you say you spend a couple of weeks there. Are there places that stand out where you go like, okay, that's definitely a place I want to go back to?
Honestly, right now, I mean, my wife, she's like preparing some sort of a like best of, over the years, and we talked about some of the places, and we always make a photo book at the end of the year where we have like all the travels and races and so on, and usually they stand in the shelf and just get all dusty, but now I actually got them out and took a look at some of the trips, and they all stand out in some way or another. Even places where I would never go for holidays or would never go on private, I have great memories to, and it's whatever, Galveston in Texas. It's not a place where I want to go for holidays, but there's this little cafe place, and it's so nice. And there's like all these little things. And St. George, for example, we have a super nice host family there. Also, Phoenix in Arizona, we know a couple, and they have a private 25-yard pool. I would love to be there right now, to be honest. So it's a lot of really nice places, and I think that what really stays after your career. I think at one point I can't remember how many races I won, or did I win that race, or was I third place, but meeting the people and being at the places along the way, that's what really stays with you, I guess.
And now missing the 25-meter pool. Did you ever think you get to the point where you're like, man, I miss swimming?
That's really the thing, because swimming is banned worldwide. I mean, a lot of triathletes I know would probably agree that this is not the worst case scenario. But as I already said, I mean, you always want to have what you can't. And so right now I definitely miss swimming. And that's the thing. If I stop my career, I would probably also stop swimming. I would not stop cycling and running for sure. But right now, I can't imagine something better than being in the pool in Playitas, for example, 50-meter, no roof. It would be amazing. I mean, it would be the same for you guys in Girona, thinking about the pool, open roof. Yeah, I mean, that's just a sign how much you love the sport,
It's weird. Literally, I start miss swimming, and I don't even need it to make money. Well, I will never make money with anything that involves swimming, but yeah, it is strange these days, without a doubt. Do you, like, with the training and stuff you do at home right now, how long do you think it'll take you to be back in like peak racing shape when it's time to hit the road?
Like this, I think. That's what we work on right now. Is also, of course, everybody tells you, look at this as a chance, blah 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 blah. Of course, it's not that easy, but at the same time, I really try to have that mindset. And I think we as especially as triathletes, I think we are pretty good in adapting to new situations and new challenges. And being self-employed, basically you always have to take care about everything yourself. It's not like in a soccer club or whatever, where the people at home and they don't know what to do because they can't go to their club training or whatever. I mean, there's no motivational issue or something like that for the most of us, I guess. And so therefore I try to work on things that will make me a better athlete in the long term. I mean, I'm turning 36 this year, so long term is probably like 3 years. But in a lot of ways, I've trained from one race to another. There's always been a next race in 4 weeks, a next race in 2 months, and so therefore you always have this like sort of pressure that there's a race in 2 weeks. So you try to be healthy and try to take care about your body, but at the same time you want to be fit and beating the out of the guys in 2 weeks. So therefore you still have to do like this short-term stuff. So now you can really focus on some long-term things that will probably serve you in a half a year or in a year. So, and that's what we try to do. I think it's also big part of the motivation right now, that we can do different things or things differently than what we've done in the past.
What is it that still drives you? There is literally nothing in long distance triathlon of the top things that matter that you haven't won.
I don't know about that. I mean, there's still a lot out there. I already told you, like, the biggest motivation right now is just being able to live this life. Like, the amount of freedom we have is just amazing, and I think you even appreciate it more in a situation like that, where you really realize how privileged you are to be able to, to travel, to meet all these people, to have this lifestyle in triathlon. But at the same time, I just love to exercise, and then, of course, I mean, I don't want to lie to you. There's still still a good fire burning in me to win races, and especially to beat guys in their very best. I think that's the biggest motivation to, I've beaten Jan in the past, but there was always something wrong. He was either he had a mechanical, or he had 3 mechanicals, or he got an issue, some health issue or whatever. And I want to beat Jan when he's when he has his best shape on the given day. And so therefore, that's still something that just gives me goosebumps when I talk about. So there's no lack of motivation for the next months to come up, whatever they will bring.
Sounds like we're in for some fun, because he sounds highly motivated. I chatted to Lionel the other day, who was like telling me how bummed out he was that he couldn't race you in summer in one of the years when he was injured, because he remembered the epic battles with you. So those boys are definitely burning as well.
I really pray for all of us that we're gonna have an outdoor triathlon soon, and I don't have to race Lionel in some sort of indoor races, because I think it's just not possible to beat him there. I mean, he's just a numbers beast. The numbers he's able to put out on a stationary bike is just out of this world. So I just hope he's not burning too many matches till the day when we'll be able to race against each other.
There's now popping up like pro cycling teams on Swift and so on. He wants to put together a group of pro triathletes and challenge the cyclists out there and see how that works.
I would love to do that. I mean, I will definitely not be like the captain of the team, that's for sure, but I will definitely love to put my strengths in in the meaning of the team. And I mean, he already showcased how he basically defended the triathlon's honor in these races. So yeah, if something like that comes up, I'm definitely in.
Is there somebody in like US team or international where you said like, that's the guy I'd love to be seated against?
I mean, Lionel would have been one of the guys for sure, because just like he said, we already had some pretty good battles, and most of them I actually lost. I mean, in St. George, in Samorin, he's always super fit in May and June, and I think I started to really improve after I switched coach to Philip Seid, and especially due to the fact that I'm able to run fully healthy again. So I would love to have a rematch. But on the other hand, I think there are so many good and great athletes out there that it wouldn't have really mattered. I mean, I would have also loved to watch like the other guys race against each other. So therefore, I think there would have been a lot of excitement. And I mean, I can't wait for probably the next year to have it on.
You're fully motivated. You change coaches. You're able to run again. Are we still to see the best version of Sebi Kienle so far?
I think so. Yeah. I think if I would not be confident saying yes, you will, then it would probably also be time to just step back a little bit. But I'm definitely not. I think you know, those two curves they're about to cross anytime soon, where you have experience and performance.
Like, I loved seeing you race the first years I was out on the circuit, because like you would approach the half marathon and a half distance, the first 10K, like it was a 10K run. And you seemed happy to blow up until it finally worked out. Are you still the same guy, or are you able to stick a little more to a plan?
I think both. I think I still sort of have that mentality. On the other hand, it's experience and knowing how hard this wall is you're gonna hit. So I'm probably gonna hit the wall with a little bit lower speed. But then on the other hand, that's also the problem that comes with experience. You know what's gonna happen when you're gonna blow up. And it's also just the sport has changed a lot since then. I mean, I would love to say I would have won the race back then with all the competition we have nowadays, but that's just not true. If all those guys were in these races, for example, in Vegas, it would have not looked that easy, you know. It's not that easy anymore, and the chances of having success like that are for sure smaller. But then on the other hand, if you're that guy that always watches the power meter, you're not going to win the race. At one point, you just need to race with your heart and not with your brain. I think I'm still able to do that in the important races.
It sure as hell looks like it. I've seen some good ones that look like that. Running with Jan in Frankfurt for the longest time, and so on.
Yeah, for example, that was one of the cases where probably should have been smarter or should have waited a little bit longer or whatsoever. But that's always the thing that are going to tell the people that look from the outside but you are the only person that really knows. And that's the thing. Like, I know what you can do if you are in this rush and in this position. You can grow taller than you are, you know, and you can do things you would not be, you never thought you would be able to. When I look at my numbers and when I look at training sessions from other people and so on, I sometimes think I should not be able to beat these people. But that's really the thing. On race day, it's a different story. And that's the only thing that matters. When you are in this situation, I would absolutely hate to not try and finish second with a smaller margin, and everybody says, yeah, that was a smart race. I don't want to do a smart race. I want to do like a full gas race, and if I blow up, yeah, well, then that's it. But I think that's the biggest reward you can have, is that feeling of, you know, putting it all on the line.
Hey, you got my vote. Please never get too smart in racing, because you're putting on a nice show out there that's fun for us to watch as well. With racing, how do you switch off?
By reading. I still like to read like a lot, you know, basically all newspapers and non-triathlon related stuff, books and things like that. Is that still a thing? I'm not really into podcasts, to be honest. Yes, I mean that's really the thing, and I mean that's also one of the things a lot of people ask you, what do you really miss? What do you have to you know, sacrifice for your sport? And I think the biggest sacrifice is always friends. You know, it's not that easy if you come back from all these trips and hey, here I am, and they all have families now, you know, and they work, and so it's not that easy. It's not like they don't have the same rhythm and lifestyle you have. It's not that easy to meet up on a weekday at 10 a.m. to have a late breakfast or something like that, you know. So that's something I would love to do, to you know, to switch off and have a little bit more time with friends. I think yeah, that's the only thing I sort of miss.
Next time, hopefully, I remember a really good Flammkuchen near your place.
Yeah, that's about right. I mean, I would love to either have the next chat here with some Flammkuchen or at a race.